start with our word of the day. The word of the day today is overhaul. Overhaul. Because what a job by Howie Roseman to get from where we were last year this time to where we are now. What a job by Howie Roseman to overhaul this roster. And we're looking at where we are right now. Back to the Super Bowl, second time in 3 years. Look how different the roster is from that team 2 years ago. And then look at how different everything also is from just last season. That overhaul of the coaching staff and the roster was the most masterful job in Philadelphia sports history, in my opinion, when it comes to Howie Roseman. And yesterday, we talked about maybe players that didn't get enough love. Howie Roseman is loved in the city. But we probably, on this show, nationwide, locally, everywhere, have not put enough emphasis on just how epic this offseason was. Think about this now as you get back to the Super Bowl. A new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator. You know Saquon Barkley on the offense. Then on the defensive side of the ball, you got Huff. That one didn't work out. But 2 new corners, rookies that start. You bring CJ back. Both linebackers, you have one that comes up. One, Bowen had never played the position. And then the one thing that maybe it's gotten on another team they'd be so pleased with is what they did with Becton. Never played guard before in his life, just like Bowen had never played inside linebacker. Now he's the right guard on a Super Bowl team. What Howie Roseman did with this overhaul is nothing short of miraculous. I mean, new backup quarterback and trades. He did so many things to change this roster. I mean, I know Booney has a whole graphic up of all the different things that they did in one off season. I mean, now look at it. You got the defensive coordinator, Saquon Barkley, Bryce Huff, Zach Boyd, CJ, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Dotson, Kenny Pickett, who won your game down the stretch. Dotson, who came up big in the game late in the season and showed more late than he showed early in the season. Plus, Jalix Hunt, people that he couldn't fit. First of all, he could only make the graphics so big. Jalix Hunt making plays. What Howie Roseman did was miraculous. Miraculous today. And I don't want to skip anything because let's be honest, okay? This is the time for a little truth serum. There was no way going into the season any of us or any of you realistically thought the Eagles would be here based on what happened last year because so many things needed to go right in order for this to happen, okay? Saquon, one of the moves that we all liked, he was even better than we expected. That needed to happen. Becton had to play guard when he had never played guard and start at guard. That's not just easy. Trust me. We've seen it with other players. We've seen Dillard years ago couldn't go from left tackle to right tackle. Now you got a left tackle had to move to right guard. He never did it before. He ends up starting and playing tremendously well. 2 rookies in this modern NFL stepping up. So many things. Howie Roseman had to thread a needle. And you might go, well, I can thread a needle. Oh, yeah, Oren Burks was added to the squad, obviously, and then he steps in, new guy. But it's like he had to thread a needle from a mile away. He had to thread a needle from across a room. I don't know how he did it, but Howie Roseman, as much as he's been praised, has not been praised enough for this overhaul, and I think we need to take a step today. Take a deep breath. Look at this Eagles roster and go, damn, Ricky Bo, what a job he did to get the Eagles where they are right now.
Well, let's face facts. The first things we always want to do to a GM is point a finger at him that he's doing something wrong or he made the wrong move. In this case, I mean, Howie, for some reason, has this vision that we can't even begin to think about what he's thinking about coming into the offseason last year. And then all of a sudden he's making all these moves, and we thought, in all honesty, we thought Bryce Huff move was going to be the biggest move they made because, you know, you lose one, you put one bet right back in there, and Howie knows what he's doing. But it wasn't just that. I mean, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, great pickups, great job by both of them this year. Fangio has been nothing but spectacular. Kellen Moore has just flat out gotten the job done offensively. The Saquon Barkley move, I think a lot of GMs would make that move, but Howie's the guy that's always there. Howie's the guy that always can pull it off. Howie's the man. I mean, we could sit here till we're blue in the face and look for something to punch at Howie for, but Howie is always the guy getting the last laugh. And I think that, as a GM, is probably the greatest feeling in the world for him. Being able to get the last laugh, making trades on draft night. It's just one of those things where he's a step ahead of everybody else. And the whole league, if you think about it, the whole league must hate him. But for some reason, the whole league loves to deal with him. And that, to me, is pretty unbelievable in itself also. But you look at some of the players. You bring in a Zach Bond. He's an outside linebacker. He comes in and plays inside linebacker with Vic Fangio, and now he's a Pro Bowler. Now you're probably going to have to pay that guy. But I think the biggest coup he picked off was the Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. There is no way that any of us thought that he was going to get both of them in that draft. As a matter of fact, I was thinking at first, are you going to get DeJean first? What's going to happen here? A lot of people had DeJean a lot higher than he ended up going, but Howie was patient. He picks up Quinyon Mitchell with a huge move, and then, boom, falls right into your lap with Cooper DeJean.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They also extended so many guys.
The extension with the wide
receivers and everybody across the line. This was a great offseason. And I think as we look at how did the Eagles get here, okay, as we look at how did the Eagles get here, we have to start with what a job Howie Roseman did to overhaul both the coaching staff and the roster to get to this point.
And I think one thing that has to be thrown out there before we go to break is that he does this with – there are roadblocks, but he doesn't seem to have those roadblocks because he's so good at his job.
That's true. And also, we have to acknowledge he gets an F for last year.
Yep.
But he bounced back with an A+. See, he doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Last season, everything everybody said about him was true. He was terrible. This season, though, legendary. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate it. If you want more of this content, make sure you like and subscribe. And, you can do that kind of over here if you want more of the best show ever.